Good morning. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us for another edition of the Morning Breeze, man. Always rocking with you guys, as always, man. Outside of me, I got my guy, Mr. Media himself, Jordan JC, in the building. That's right. Breeze Nation, what is good? It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again, man. A little later this morning. Had some things that had to get worked out, but we still got the content coming your way. George Pickens has been traded to the Dallas Cowboys. And who cares about the Cowboys? The question on the table is, how is this going to affect the Chicago Bears here in the 2025 season? It does have an effect on a couple of different things, and I think this is going to be absolutely interesting to see. Also, ESPN analyst Dan Orlovski has an interesting name that he is attaching to the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. We got to talk about that because it is a Chicago Bear, and it is a very interesting pick for back-to-back seasons. We'll talk about all that and more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. The date is 5/7/2025, whatever time it is in the morning right now where you're at. And ladies and gentlemen, I do have to say, the NFC is going to be wild this year. Let's go. I mean, absolutely insane. The NFC is going to be absolutely insane this season. We got war, baby. We got war out here. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, man. Leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do.
Come on. Push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push the button.
You heard what she said.
Y'all heard what Sue Young said. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, man. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with us for another edition of the Morning Breeze. Notice it's coming to you a little bit later. We won't speak on the difficult. Yeah, y'all already know. We won't speak. If you're a follower of the show, you know. All right, bet. But the waking up this morning was a very interesting start to the day as George Pickens has been traded to the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys yet again getting all of the every weapon that they need, right? Where I'm not gonna lie to you, as I woke up this morning too, and you see the Pickens news come across, I just saw Pickens traded to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm so locked in on the Chicago Bears, my brain instantly went, "Oh, Matt Eberflus wanted Zach Pickens back. That's interesting." Like, not even thinking George Pickens, but George Pickens has been traded to the Dallas Cowboys. And listen, the whole what the Cowboys could be with their team, they get another weapon. We know that they now have one of the best wide receiving cores in football, essentially, if everybody keeps their head on straight. I mean, this is a heavy investment in Brian Schottenheimer to start things off here. But how it affects the Bears, I think, is interesting, right? When you talk about what the Bears are trying to do this season. Now, with this addition, last season, the Cowboys end up not making the playoffs because of injury more so than anything else, right? Like, let's be 100% honest. They probably make the playoffs, even as a wild card team, if injury does not play in last season. But 7-10 last season in the NFC East is going to put them behind a couple of teams there, which is the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders in that division. Now, what makes this interesting and why I think this does affect the Chicago Bears is, look, I've been on record many times. I want the Bears to win as many games as possible. I think there's an opportunity out here for the Bears to take a real step forward, but the Bears' schedule is difficult. So for me to say the Bears are going to go from last place to winning the division, I think is a long way to go. But could I sit here and say that the Bears could be competing for a wild card spot at the end of the season? I think that is a safe place to be. And what I think this does now for the NFC East is outside of the Giants, you've got a bunch of teams that are absolutely dangerous. Now, I don't expect every one of them to be an outright playoff team. I think schedules are a little bit more difficult right now for the East and for the North this season. But when you look at now the Cowboys being a player in that mix, right, this to me does cement them as a possible wild card team that you could go out there and have to actually be competing with, right, for that final wild card spot. I think it makes that wild card playoff spot incredibly difficult to get now, because are the Commanders going to be an outright team? Are the Commanders going to be a playoff, or are the Commanders going to be a wild card team as well, right? We don't know what's going to happen with the division winner and how many games Washington gets out of that as well. If they do maintain kind of where they've been, do they have a regression here in year two? Or do they keep the pace, which I expect them kind of to keep the pace, because I love some of the offseason moves that they've made to really add to what Jaden Daniels has up there. I think the conversation, though, right now, if you're the Chicago Bears, is you're just seeing the competition rise for that final wild card spot. And I mean, listen, to me, the Giants are primed to get that. As much as we want to rag on Matt Eberflus joining that defense is going to make that defense an even better defense. I think that, you know, defensively, they're going to have some monsters out there. Of course, some of the things that they did in the draft that just really, really intrigue you as well and make you feel like, okay, maybe the Cowboys can bounce back a little bit. Now, bounce back, right, is getting to the playoffs. I'm not saying that they're going to win the Super Bowl. The Giants haven't won a Super Bowl in so long. Like, what was the stat? The last time the Giants won a playoff game, like neither Jalen Hurts nor Jaden Daniels had been in high school yet or something. I forget what the stat was, but it was something weird like that, where it's like the NFC East, everyone has had success outside the Cowboys. So I'm not picking them for this overwhelming success, but I do think it's interesting right now when you look at kind of the teams that are going to end up probably being in that wild card spot. You would hope that the Bears are one of those teams competing for that spot. And in the NFC, I mean, you're talking about it just continuing to get more and more difficult for you to make it. I mean, you're talking about Cowboys. I would say you're probably having a conversation with Minnesota being competitive for that spot as well. I still, listen, if the job is set, hut, drop back, throw the football in the air, and let Justin Jefferson go get it, I think that JJ McCarthy may be fine. I would say the Falcons could be an interesting team that you're talking about wild card wise. And then when you look at Seattle and the Arizona Cardinals, don't count them out either. But those are the range of teams you're going to be in that fight with. And are the Bears going to have the best situation to become the number one team to come out of that? Are the Bears or two, I guess, right? There's two wild card spots now, but like, are the Bears going to be the team that goes from a 5-win football team to, and just basing it off of last season, right? Your wild card teams, the Packers end up making it as a wild card team, and the Commanders end up making it as a wild card team. That was 12-5 and 11-6, right? Like it was not a cakewalk by any stretch of the imagination. The Rams, the Vikings, and the Packers. I said the Rams. The Commanders, the Vikings, the Packers all get in with that wild card. There's 3 wild card spots, I tweet. And that was 14 wins last season. That was 11 wins last season. That was 12 wins last season. You're going to have to win some football games. And now you add Dallas into that mix. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to make things even more difficult. And guess what? Like Ben Johnson said, he's not running away from the smoke. He's not ducking the smoke. Hey, it's going to be fun. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments, man. Do you think that this Pickens trade does make Dallas a wild card contender at least? Do you feel like this is going to be something the Bears are going to have to deal with down the line? Or is Dallas going to Dallas and they all just fall apart and George Pickens comes in there and he's swinging for the fences and he's trying to like take people out? And I don't understand moving on from, like, I get it, last year, the rookie deal, they really had to hate him. Like, think about there at one point was George Pickens and Kenny Pickett, and there was so much excitement around these two, and you trade them away. Now, you really had to hate them. Let me know how you guys feel down in the comments below. I'll be down to talk with you as well. I want to get to something else interesting today that I thought was very intriguing when talking about the offensive rookie of the year. One, Dan Orlovski had an interesting selection that has a Chicago Bear in, and I want to talk about what it would actually take for him to win the award. We'll talk about all that and more coming up next. But first, cue that Aura commercial. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching the show. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Aura. Have you ever done a Google search on your own name? You'd be surprised what pops up. Your full name, email address, home address, health records, your relatives. It's all out there. And that's why I've been using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out requests just for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it protects me from hackers who could use that information to help them access my social media, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. It's really simple to set up. I don't have to download several apps or go to things like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft, but you can get all of that in one place with Aura. I get everything at one affordable price as well. You may already have one or two of these tools, but not having Aura is like leaving the front door locked while leaving the back door and windows wide open. For you to be able to take advantage of Aura, we got a special deal for you here today. Stop data brokers from exposing your personal information. Go to my sponsor at https:/aura.com/the Windy City. Again, that is aura.com/the Windy City to get a 14-day free trial and see how much of your information is being sold. Welcome back. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Just talked about how the George Pickens trade could affect the Chicago Bears here in the NFC, especially in that NFC wild card. Now I want to talk about an interesting take from one Dan Orlovski, who makes the case for our own Colston Lovelin to be the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. He says, let's go with the tight end winning this award for a second straight year. The middle of the field of play, and I'm assuming he meant picking a tight end to win the award because if I'm not mistaken, Jaden Daniels won the award last season. So I'm assuming he meant picking the tight end to win the award. Excuse me. He said the middle of the field play and play action should be huge areas of attack for the Chicago Bears. Lovelin can replicate Sam Laporta's rookie year production, which Bears coach Ben Johnson played a big role in scheming up while in Detroit. And listen, do I think that Colston Lovelin is going to be the end-all, be-all favorite to win this award? I don't, right? I think for Colston Lovelin to win this award, and I appreciate Dan Orlovski for, not just being the same and going, Ashton Jeanty. Ashton Jeanty probably is a shoe-in to win this award because with Geno Smith there, they're going to be handing the football off to run it a ton. Cam Ward has a tougher situation with the offensive line that's in front of him. I do think that he's the best candidate. I always think that the number one quarterback is always going to be the best candidate to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. But, I mean, for him to even get into this conversation, I do think you have to look at Sam Laporta rookie year, right, where you're talking about 726 yards, 12 yards per reception, and 889 yards, 10 yards per reception, and 10 touchdowns on the season for him to win that. I just think I do agree with Dan that the middle of this field is going to be massive for the Chicago Bears. And yards wise, I think that you're probably on par with that. Here's where I think it gets tough, and I've talked about this a couple of times. The touchdowns to me, I don't think are Colston Lovelin's to go get. I think that there is not going to be this phasing out of Cole Kmet like many people believe in this offense. Cole Kmet is here. I think the Bears are going to try and use him. I think the Bears are going to focus on him as a weapon, especially around the end zone where, hey, I just need you to turn around, be a big body, have a basketball background, jump up and go get this football. I think that fits Cole Kmet more than it fits Colston Lovelin. Now, again, I did say this with Shay on Monday, right, on the Chicago Bears podcast, where, it's kind of a 90s basketball analogy, right? All these guys are great shooters, and not to say they wouldn't be great in today's game, but you're taking 3 a game versus Stephen Curry, who's taking 15 in a quarter, right? Like, the percentages are going to be a little bit off. So when I look at Colston Lovelin's catch percentage, I do go, okay, not a ton of 50-50 balls for him to go up there and get, not a ton of contested catches for him to go up there and get. So, is his number a little bit lower because he didn't have as many opportunities because they're not throwing it up there like that at Michigan, which they just weren't. I do think that plays into it, but I think that's where Cole Kmet thrives in this offense. And I also think that's where Roma Dunze will thrive in this offense. I just see Colston Lovelin as the yak guy, as the guy, the tight end in the slot, or maybe inline, I guess, if you want to do that. That is getting the yards, getting the ball in his hands, making big plays, fighting his way down the field. And then when we get to the end zone, he doesn't always get to reap the benefits. I could see him having 2 to 3 touchdowns in his rookie year. And for me, I think that's not going to put him in that rookie of the year range. I just think there's too many mouths to feed in the end zone, right? If I'm on the goal line and I've got Cole Kmet, Roma Dunze, DJ Moore, I'm probably favoring those guys. And in the moments where I'm not favoring those guys, I'm turning around and I'm handing this freaking football off to Roshan Johnson to tell him to punch it in. Or if you're future projecting here, Kyle Monangai. That's right. 7th round pick Kyle Monangai. Can't wait to see what this young man has to do on tape and can do with the Chicago Bears backfield. By the way, I love how, like, me being happy for once about a 7th round pick and being happy that Kyle Monangai is on the team has turned into, this is just more fuel for Pat's hate of running backs. I'm praising a running back. I don't hate a running back. I'm just excited that you got one of the best running backs in the Big Ten in the 7th round, and he should be able to play, and we should be able to go out there and win games. Anyway, I digress. But no, man, look, at the end of the day, I think here's the big thing for me with where the Bears are at right now, especially if Colston Lovelin is going to win this award. I think that there's just so many mouths to feed on this team offensively. I'm not looking at Colston Lovelin to be that guy around the end zone. I would think you're probably looking to Cole's way. You're probably looking other guys' way. Now, doesn't mean it can't be that way. And what we saw last season wasn't a fluke, right? I've often said there's a lot of times Cole's wide open and Caleb is not looking at him. Is that a scheme problem? Is that a coaching problem? Is that a Cole and Caleb problem? I don't believe it's a Cole and Caleb problem, but I also don't know everything that's happening behind closed doors in that building, right? So I think that if you started to see Colston Lovelin not only get more of the targets his way, but also more of the touchdown attempts, trying to get him going in the end zone, I do think that you would probably end up sitting there going, oh, okay, well, that means that this is done. We are going to end up moving on from Cole Kmet, which may be something that happens anyway via trade post June 1. I'm not expecting it. I would think you want to run a ton of 12 personnel. I don't care that he's already paid. You got the 2 tight ends here. Use both of them. They're both talented tight ends. But like I get what some people are like, well, you gotta move on because he's got the 10 million on there, and if you're gonna do it, you move on. Like, why not? You're saving him because Cole Kmet's a better player than the $10 million you're saving. That's really what it comes down to. Is it worth it to get rid of a player to save the money when I have that player on the team? By the way, the clearing cap space is always like to make room for either a future player to come in there and fit in perfectly, which I think you got a bunch of weapons on this team, especially with Luther Burden in there, or is it for you to add somebody in the middle of the season, which I don't expect the Bears to do that either. Like, I don't expect the Bears to have this uber active trade deadline yet again, because why? There's going to be things you need, but like, why? Now you literally are in, we can draft to add this mode with all the weapons you have on this team. So I don't know. I don't see Colston Lovelin being an offensive rookie of the year candidate at this point. But I would love to see that happen. I think there's a lot of interesting pieces of this article that I want to break down even further. But we got to go do some other shows today, and we got a lot of running around to do. But we will have a ton of content coming you guys' way. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Stay tapped in with us here on The Breeze, man. And of course, we'll be back later today with more content coming y'all way. As always, man, it's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bed down. One love. Peace.
The best show for Chicago sports.